Here I have a little over a pound of thinly cut beef eye of round steak. And I noticed on the package it said wafer thin beef for Milanesa, so I went with it. Next, I'm going to remove the meat from the package. I have covered my cutting board in saran wrap, and now I'm just going to tenderize the meat with my tenderizing mallet. Now, this could be optional. I know people in my family don't do this. I personally like to cut my Milanesa with a fork, and I want to make sure that each bite that I cut into doesn't take the crust with it. So this is why I like to tenderize the meat. Now I wanted to show you that I went ahead and trimmed off that edge of fat that was surrounding the meat cutlets. And now that my meat is tenderized, I'm now going to season it. Okay, so now I am just going to season the meat and let it set for 30 minutes or until I need it. So here I'm just going to give it a dusting of onion powder, garlic powder, and I'm only going to salt one side because these are very thin. I don't want to oversalt the meat. And then I'm just going to add some cracked black pepper. And I'm going to repeat this process and just layer the meat. And I will season both sides, but only one side with salt. I'd like to add that you can season your meat with whatever seasonings you like. You could also marinate it in some lime juice, salt, and some fresh garlic and onion. That'll help tenderize the cut of meat that you decide to use, but this is what I like to do. Okay, so all of my meat is seasoned. I'm now just going to cover it with some cling wrap, pop it into the fridge, and let it set for at least 30 minutes or until I need it. Next, I'm going to work on my dredge for the crust. Here I've taken one sleeve of saltine crackers, and actually I used unsalted tops. But if you are using the regular saltine cracker, you might not need to add salt to your dredge like I do later. So here I've crushed one sleeve of saltine crackers, and I'm also going to be using up to 1.5 cups of plain breadcrumbs. Here I didn't add the full 1.5 cups, but later I did because I did find that I needed it. Now I am just going to add salt to taste. Again, if you are using regular saltine crackers with a salted top, you might not want to do this because then you'll oversalt your crust. Okay, so now that that is ready, I am going to crack 3 large eggs into a bowl. I'm going to give them a good mix, and that is where I'm going to add all of my seasoned meat. This is going to allow the crust to adhere to the meat. Now I'm going to add my seasoned meat to the mixed egg, and I'm just going to make sure everything is coated and submerged into the egg, and then I'm going to start dredging all of the meat. In the meantime, while I am doing all of this, I'm preheating my fry oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, basically a good fry temperature. Now I'm going to start coating my meat with my cracker breadcrumb mixture, and I'm going to let all of the coated meat set for at least 10 minutes. This will help ensure that when I start to fry the meat, I don't lose the crust in the oil. And I just wanted to mention that when I do coat all of the meat, I do like to firmly press in the cracker crust. I think it helps adhere to the meat. Okay, so my fry oil is ready at this point, and I'm just going to test it with a piece of cracker. It starts to fry and float. I am ready to start making my Milanesa. And I will not be frying this for very long. You don't want to put this into the pan and walk away. The meat is pounded out very thin, so it's only going to take, I would guess, 45 seconds to a minute on each side, and your Milanesa will be done. Now, if you'll notice, this piece of meat started to curl up on the edges. That is because I pounded it out too thin on the edges. And it happens. I don't know how to do this perfectly, but trust me, sometimes those crispier edges are my favorite part. While I'm cooking my Milanesa, I also have a pan of Mexican rice cooking on the side. I will leave the link to that video in the description below. Now that my Milanesa is cooked, I am going to remove it from the pan and place it on a baking sheet lined with paper towels. Now that all of the Milanesa is done, I want to show you how crunchy and crispy this crust is. Now I'm going to show you the weird side of my Milanesa making. I like to slather it in ketchup, Cholula hot sauce, and lemon or lime. I know, doesn't look appealing, but it really is my favorite way to eat this. This pretty much is the perfect bite for me. And I usually like to serve it with salad and Mexican rice on the side. You can put this in a sandwich or eat it just by itself because it's really good. I hope you like this recipe. I hope you give it a try, and thanks for watching.